I'm George Bawe, and I'm taking you so accounting soft skill. And last time we looked at looked at what accounting soft skills is. We look at also uh, being an accountant does not really mean everything. That you need to be smart, you need to be intelligent, you must have the leadership quality. And today we are looking at the importance of accounting software, where we stopped last week. And let's look at the importance of accounting software. One, to manage the business effectively. When you have the accounting software, you manage the business so very effectively. Two, to help business in computing their tax obligations. You'll be able to, once your payroll carries a lot of things on it, and once it's already on your computer, you can easily know how much tax your staff paid. Then three, it completes most of the bookkeeping process of the business. Instead of doing day-to-day running, writing, it completes the book, because as we are selling, you are also uh, imputing it into the computer. Then it generates reports and management calculation, reports and management. So your sales for the day, all you need to do is just to press a button, and your sales report and all your calculation for the day comes out. You don't need to begin to press button any longer. Then five, importance of tracking the success of the business. You're able to track if the business is doing well or the business have failed. You're able to track it, or if it's making profits or not making profits, you'll be able to track that effectively. Then we also look at allow users to store all information that gives a clear picture of the business financial health. Yes, you store information that gives clarity in it. Then we also look, it can easily manage bookkeeping and allow monitoring costs and revenue to maximize profit margins. Now, it helps you. You cut costs, you monitor the costs, then you're So we look at, sorry for the break and transmission. Then we look at basic steps of a complex investigation, and I say respond to complaint. That means when there's a complaint, maybe something is missing at the department, somebody complained, then there's a response to complaint. 2, evaluate the allegation or suspicion. You evaluate the allegation or the suspicion. You look at it if truly it happens or not. 3, conduct due diligence background check. There must be a background check in the accounting department. Then 4, complete the stages of investigation. Then 5, check for prediction and get organized. Then you know the next thing, such person needs to be reported to the police and will be arrested. Then what are investigation techniques? Look at investigation techniques. For countless years, crime investigators have relied on 6 investigation techniques to solve crime. Number 1 is development of information. You develop your information to know if the information are true or not. 2, use of undercover agents. There are agents that will go, maybe an auditor who will come up and start auditing the department. Then we have a laboratory analysis of physical evidence in case there are money missing or not. Then there are evidence. Then 5, physical and electronic surveillance. There's a surveillance that, through your computer, you can do your surveillance, connect to all the departments, they render the account. Then interrogation. The person will be arrested. If there are plenty, they'll be arrested and interrogate them. And if they are found guilty, then where permitted by law, then when we look at wiretapping of these techniques as result in various degree of success. That means those people, as they are talking, you are taping it or recording their SXs, and you get there. Then those scientists use 3 methods, though the scientists use 3 methods of investigation in different circumstances. This method includes, in no particular order, that is fear testing. That you can use fear testing, they can identify and classification of it. Then step to successful workplace investigation. There are steps to workplace. Then decide whether to investigate. Number 1, you decide if to investigate the allegation. 2, take immediate action. 3, choose an investigation. Then 3, 4, conduct interviews, gather documents and other evidence, evaluate evidence, and take action. Then we also look at types of criminal investigation. There are types of criminal investigation. We have the fraud investigation. We have crime scene investigation. We have sexual crime investigations. We have theft investigation. We have kidnapping investigation. We have assault investigation, homicide investigation. Then we have crime defense investigation. All these investigations, they relate to different types of area where they need to investigate. Then we look at the purpose for investigation is to exploit in detail the allegations, to examine the evidence in depth, and to determine specific whether academic research has been committed, and if so, action needs to be taken. So we look at types of fraud. We look at fraud, different types of fraud you can easily see. I'm putting these different types so that you can easily know which area. Then we look at fraud, electronic crimes, laundry, these are other types of fraud, bribery and corruption, market abuse and inside dealing, then information security. Then we look at types of financial fraud, embezzlement, also called larceny. And we have embezzlement, also called larceny, and which is illegal use of fund by a person who control those funds, illegally use of it. Then we look at indirect, internal, so direct theft, which is the stealing of company assets by employees, such as taking office supply or product that the company sells without paying for them. Then we look at check fraud. Then we also look at banking, identity fraud, then invoice and payment fraud. Those are types of financial fraud. So financial investigations are commonly used in the following situation, both in the corporate and in the personal ways. It's used both in the corporate and the personal. And then we look at the corporate, include merger and acquisition. In case 2 companies want to merge, or one want to acquire the other, and there's no due papers for it, or somehow somebody costs to go and collect it back, then you have to investigate that. Then we also have shareholders and partnership dispute, where the shareholder, possibly the two people combine, connive together to steal from the other people. Then they have to do the investigation. Then we also have the business interruption and property claim losses. Business interruption and property claim losses. And also we have corporate internal investigation. That's within the management of the organization. Then we also have personal, uh, personal investigation. Now, these include divorce litigation, where two people, maybe there's bigger, maybe there's somebody who got married while he's still in marriage, things like that. Then we also have personal injury claim, the motor vehicle accident. Then we look at that. We have the mediation stroke arbitration. Mediation and stroke arbitration. That's two people or two factors comes together and they are fighting, and somebody came in and possibly he took money from other person to judge the other person right. Then we also look at other types of civil litigations, civil litigation. Then we move on to electronic data processing. Electronic data processing. Now, in electronic data processing, then we can say EDP, we use EDP to shortcut it. Then we say EDP can be referred to the use of automated method to apply to an inventory, apply to an inventory, banking transaction, apply to accounts and customer master files or books. It is also called IS. IS means information system. It's called the IS, information system, or MIS. MIS, that is management information system or service. Now, don't forget that EDP is also called IS, which is information system, or is also called management information system or service. Is the process of data by a computer, and it is programmed in an environment involving electronic communication. EDP involves from DP. It's involved from DP. DP is data processing. It's involved from DP, which is data processing, a term that was created when most computer input was physically put into computer in business card from outside as punch card or paper
Please, our lecturer will get back to us very soon. So please be patient.
So sorry for the break in transmission. We continue from where we talk about batch processing, and is the process of organizing data in the divided groups. In this method, the processing data can be divided as a group over a required time period. It allows the computer to perform different priorities for an interaction. It is useful and unique to process. Then we look at distributed processing. This method is usually used for investigation since the remote workstation are connected to a big workstation. The customer gets the better service from the process. Then we look at elements of electronic data processing. We see the hardware, we see the software, we see the procedures, then we personnel. Then is the basic element that of a data processing. Now we look at hardware section. Under the hardware section, we look at the scanner, the barcode scanner, cash register, personal computer, medical devices, service video and audio equipment are elements of electronic devices. Then we also look at software. Software, that's data entry. Then we look at scheduling software, analytics, and the software are all elements of software. We have the procedure section. That's sorting, analysis, reporting, conversion, data collection, aggregation are the elements of data collection. Then we also look at the personnel. The personnel are the programmer that are the users of the EDP to create the components and spreadsheet. You have the components and the spreadsheet. The importance of data processing is now understood by all fields. Each industry now focus on what would be best for them and how to achieve great profit. Then we look at the stages of EDP, the stages. Stage one, accurate data gathering, then sensor, sampling, survey, and administrating by product. By product, then that is accurate data gathering. You gather your data. Some people call it the primary data. You gather your data without being processed, then sensor, then survey. They will have the survey and administrating by product. Then two, preparation stage is used to analyze the data processing. That is, you have the preparation stage where you are now analyzing or picking the data. Then we also have the data entry. It's done by the user, the use of a scanner or keyboard and digitizer by digitizer. Then first stage is, in this stage, every computer is used to store data. Is used to store your data. Then we also look at the advantage of EDP. Advantage of EDP. Then disadvantage are the system of electronic data processing is once created, then the cost of managing data will be reduced. Documents treated as primary asset. Documents treated as primary asset. Then we also look at cost of managing costs is costly, but EDP reduces the cost of paperwork. When you have a lot of paperwork, this is doing that. And when you have your EDP, there's a minimum reduction of the paperwork. Now,
verify the your lecturer. Thank you.
Very sorry for the break in transmission. But before we continue, let me quickly give you this assignment so that wherever I stop, you can continue from there. Now we look at what is fraud. What is fraud? We look at what is fraud, then and fraud management in accounting. What is fraud and fraud management in accounting. So I want to write your assignment and send it to my mail. What is fraud? Then what's fraud management in accounting? So you need to tell me what fraud is and fraud management in accounting. You send it to my email, jogba2804 at gmail.com. Jogba2804 at gmail.com. Now, we are looking at disadvantage of EDP, and we say easy for computers hackers. The computer hackers they can hack into your computer and they take vital information. Two, insecurity and data loss. Sometimes what you put in, if you don't have another save thing that you save for it, once it means, then that means it is gone. Then we also look at when a small number of digit code are compared with a large number code, then it occupies the computer storage less. Then we look at alphabetic code can be descriptive. Alphabetic code can be descriptive. Then we look at, and all these things we need to understand that in computer you cannot mix electronic processing, computing. Then today, before the time goes on, I want us to look at auditing through the computer. What's auditing through the computer? For the little minutes I have, I'm sorry for the break in some transmission. We are looking at auditing through the computer. Now, when auditing through the computer, the auditor follows the audit trail through the internal computer operation. It followed through the internal computer operation. Then, in order to verify that the processing control are incorporated in the IAS program are functioning properly. Additionally, it attempts to validate the accounting data being processed. Then the auditor assume that the CPU and additional hardener are functioning properly. Then look at techniques used in auditing through the computer, and the techniques include use of tested data. We look at use of tested data. The data are well tested. Two, integrated test facilities. Integrated test facilities. Then parallel simulation to test programs. Parallel simulation to test program. The use of audit techniques to validate computer programs. Then five, use of logs to review system software. Then use of documentation and CAATS to validate user. Accounting and access privilege and use of embedded audits, modules to achieve confirm audit. So we look at steps, to perform a system audit. The steps are review. You review. That is, in this place, the system auditor tries to comprehend the management practice and various functions used at multiple levels of its hierarchy. Okay, so don't forget to do my assignment. We meet again. We continue from here. Thank you. God bless you.